Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Scoop Home Office Sustainability Workshop. We would like to thank you all for joining today. A few things to go over before we get into the workshop is that this is being recorded. So if your video is up, that may also be recorded. So please keep that in mind. Another point is that everyone should remain on mute for the duration of the presentation. However, there is a chat feature that you can utilize for questions, comments, anything like that at any point throughout the presentation. We will mainly be covering questions at the end. We may also use that for some interaction. So thank you for working with this virtual format, and we're excited to share some good information with you. Scoop is a student-run resource. And while we are on campus at CSU Chico, we assist faculty and staff by providing free audits and consultations, as well as recommendations for how they can be more sustainable. It stands for Sustainability Consultations of Office Practices. Due to our move to remote workspaces, we have created a self-audit home office tool that you can access on the Green Campus website. Through that, you will be able to do a self-assessment and score yourself, as well as access many of the resources that we will be discussing in today's presentation. My name is Mackenzie Jeter, and I am the Scoop Project Coordinator.
I'm Joshua Dixon, and I am an intern for Scoop.
I'm Haley Rufner, and I'm one of the 6 interns.
I'm Tara Tui, and I'm also one of the 6 interns.
My name is Brent Davis, and I'm also an intern for Scoop.
I'm Elias Nava, and I'm also an intern for Scoop.
Sustainability. So I want you guys to take a moment to think about what sustainability means to you. But while we're waiting for some responses, I really want to thank everyone for tuning in and making the best out of this situation. So what is sustainability? It's the ability to expand our finite resources to help our present needs without the expense of future resources for future needs. Being sustainable is the practice of maintaining a good condition that would be economically or socially without harming the environment. So why is sustainability important? To increase our environmental quality so that it is more livable. It helps increase the longevity of our finite resources and carbon emission reduction. On the right, you can see a graph of carbon emissions from fossil fuels from the 1900s to the 2000s. And as you can see, it has been raised exponentially. Being sustainable will help decrease these levels. And lastly, if we use our future resources now, then our future on Earth has no resources when the time comes. But you guys are a part of the solution to help educate and let your friends know what you learned today, and just to educate everyone. So I will be passing it to Gao Nu, who will be talking about energy.
Hello, everyone. I will briefly go over an important component that is important to maintaining a sustainable office space. And energy, as you can see on the screen, is an important aspect for our office because it is used to power your electronic devices and other functions to communicate and create work in your offices. And energy is a component in our world that has always seemed available to us. But to maintain the availability of this power source, I have a cute 2-minute video that Mackenzie will be playing for us on her screen, and it will show us ways we can properly use energy without unconsciously abusing the availability of it. And after the video, Britton will be going over some other tips on how to conserve energy. Mackenzie, you could go and play the video.
Energy. Without it, absolutely nothing would happen. The sun gives us 2 kinds of energy, light energy and heat energy. At night, electrical energy powers our light bulbs and appliances. There are 2 kinds of energies, renewable energy and non-renewable energy. Sunshine, wind, water, plants. The flow of energy from these guys never stops. Oil, coal, natural gas, atomic energy. There's a limit to these energies. These energies can be all used up. If we use too much, there will be none left. So we really should make sure we're not using too much energy, shouldn't we? Does anybody know how we can use energy the smart way? If you're leaving a room for more than 5 minutes, don't forget, turn the light off. And on a sunny day, why not open the curtains and just use natural light? It's simple. Take out incandescent light bulbs and switch them to compact fluorescent bulbs. These use a lot less energy. Just turn off the TV when you're not watching it. Turn the heating down. If it's cold, wear more clothes. And when it's hot, try using a fan. When you're not using them, why not unplug some machines, like computers, TVs, radios, and video game systems? Something we all need to know. Even after charging your phone, your charger will continue to use energy. So unplug it. Water is precious. Energy is needed to clean it. So how about saving a little? Instead of taking a bath, take shorter showers. Try not to keep the water running while you're brushing your teeth. Drippy taps waste a lot of water. Just think, a leaking tap wastes enough water to fill a soda bottle every 30 minutes. Set your washing machine to wash at 30 degrees Celsius. Dry your clothes outside instead of using a tumble dryer. Close the fridge door and never put a hot meal in the fridge. It takes a lot of energy to cool it down. Do you know about Energy Star labels? Well, products with Energy Star labels use much less energy than the others. Keep an eye out for them when you're shopping. And how about riding a bike instead of driving? Being energy smart means doing little things that are important, like using both sides of a piece of paper. And if you can reuse something instead of throwing it away, please do. Want to know something funny? All of these tips won't just help save energy, they'll save you.
Cool. Hey guys, so my name is Brent Davis, and just like my friend was telling you, I am going to share with you some simple ways you can save energy in your own home offices that the video may have already pointed out. For starters, you may want to consider using a laptop device instead of a desktop. According to the Houston Chronicle, laptops consume around 80% less electricity than the average desktop computer. The way that the technology is designed, laptops consume around 60 watts of energy per use, while a desktop needs about 300 watts of energy just to get started up and turn on. Another thing you may want to consider in your home office is the lighting. If you're working during the day, it's a really good idea to utilize the natural daylight outside rather than turn on the lights inside your place. And that's because you won't only save on your carbon emissions, but it'll also save you on your energy bill. There are a couple alternatives to lighting from the traditional light bulb that we may know pretty well. CFLs, or compact fluorescent lamps, and LEDs, or light emitting diodes, have been seen to reduce energy consumption by as much as 75%. And what's really cool about these light bulbs is they last about 2 to 3 times longer than traditional light bulbs. So again, saving you not only on your emissions, but on your energy bill as well. Another thing you may want to consider in your home offices is investing in a power strip. In your home offices, you may have multiple appliances plugged in at once. And whether these appliances are in use or not, they are consuming electricity from the outlet. And this is known as standby mode in these appliances. And according to the U.S. Department of Energy, standby mode accounts for about $100 worth of your electricity bill annually, just having these appliances plugged in and not being in use. So a power strip would allow you to plug in all your devices, to turn off all of your devices with a single switch of a button, which makes it pretty convenient. And the last thing I wanted to point out that the video may have already mentioned is climate control in your offices. If you're feeling a little chilly, you may want to consider bundling up rather than turning to the thermostat right away. What could also be environmentally friendly in your offices is considering a space heater or a fan rather than which focuses the climate control in just a single space rather than the entire house. And if you do feel like you have to turn to the thermostat, keep in mind that turning down your thermostat by just 1 degree could save you as much as 10% annually on your electric bill?
There should be a poll that is showing up on your screen. It consists of 2 questions. If you can take that poll, we'll give you a few seconds to take it. All right, so for the first question, it is asking which of the following forms of energy are renewable? And if you don't know what a renewable energy is, that is if renewable energy or non-renewable energy is if the energy is a form of energy that has a finite amount and it can replenish itself. So an example of an energy that is replenishable is solar energy and wind energy, which is option 2 and the last option that everybody has chose. So an example that is non-renewable would be an example of natural gas or coal. That is also stated in the video as well. And for question number 2, it says, can devices consume energy even while turned off and not in use or in energy saving mode? And majority voted yes, and that is correct. And that is because even if you have a device or an appliance that is plugged in and it is turned off, for example, if you have a shutter in your office, there is still that little green light that is showing you that it works. That light is using energy. Or so another example is like a microwave. If you have one in your office, there's that little time clock, digital time clock that's on there that is also using energy even if you're not using it. So just keep in mind to unplug your devices or appliances if you're not using them. That can help you conserve energy. I'm going to pass it on to Elias.
Hello, everyone. Now for a project you can complete while you're at home. Now, before we get started, I wanted to ask if anyone knows what a home energy audit is. And while you are writing down your thoughts, you should think about how much money do you spend on energy and where are your greatest energy losses. Awesome, that's great, that's great. Next slide, please. Now, a home energy audit is a room-by-room examination of the residence as well as a thorough examination of past utility bills. These audits are useful in finding energy efficiency measures, EEMs. These estimates show each improvement and will serve in terms of energy usage and include the cost of each improvement. These audits can help you assess energy usage throughout the house, identify energy inefficiencies, and prioritize energy efficiency improvements. And while a professional energy audit is not really a possibility right now, a simple DIY home energy audit can help you assess energy usage throughout the house to cut down on energy usage. Next slide, please. First of all, identify by all devices connected to your outlets. Here's an example to the right that you could use. You could go room by room and check out each outlet to identify each device. And after, you should unplug devices you don't need and or use power strips that can help manage those devices. There's an in-depth DIY home energy audit you could find on the link in the Scoop Home Office Audit tool. This guide helps you locate and fix air leaks, check for proper installation, inspect heating and cooling equipment in the home. And now I'll pass it off to Haley.
Thank you, Elias, and thank you to everyone who has tuned in. So now I'm going to talk to you about procurement. There are many decisions that we make in our everyday life that affect our overall impact on the earth, which is referred to as our ecological footprint. As consumers, we have the power to drive demand with our purchases and dollars. Simple choices that you can make to live a more eco-friendly life include buying items that are made up of or packaged in recycled materials. In doing so, it is important to look for post-consumer recycled content because this means that this material has been sold, used, recycled, and sold again, which closes the recycling loop. Also buy items that are certified eco-friendly by third-party green certifications such as Energy Star and EPA Gold. The fashion industry and the notion that new equals better contributes greatly to our waste problem as well here in the US. So buying secondhand is a great way to combat this issue and save some money. So now we're going to play a short YouTube video which discusses problems with plastic, particularly single use.
My name is Jacqueline. I'm the manager of Conservation Partnerships and Program here at Shedd Aquarium.
One of the biggest threats to our rivers, lakes, and oceans today is plastic pollution. We find a lot of single-use plastics in the water, and this is a big threat to animals. They can accidentally become entangled in it, they can swallow it or eat it, and if an animal eats plastic, it can make their stomach feel full, so they actually stop eating and they can starve to death that way. So single-use plastics are things like soda bottles, water bottles, plastic packaging, things that are only used one time and then tossed out. But when we throw it away, where does it go? It ends up in a landfill, or it may end up in the environment or in the water, lakes, rivers, and those single-use plastics can be a detriment to animals. Since plastic never actually biodegrades, it remains in the environment for hundreds of years as toxic microparticles and can be consumed by animals at all levels of the food web. A recent study looked at 25 Great Lakes fish species to see if there were plastics in their system, and all 25 of those species did have plastics. Single-use plastics are not a new threat to healthy water. We are using single-use plastics increasingly more and more in our day-to-day lives. Global plastic production has increased by 620% since 1975, and much of that is for single-use products. An important thing that we can do is practice the 4 R's. That's reduce, reuse, recycle, and refuse. You can actually turn down single-use plastics. As consumers, we have a lot of power. We can bring reusable materials to use in our daily lives. We can bring reusable bags and water bottles, and we can really show companies what's important to us. You can be part of it. You can be part of the solution and help to improve.
All right, so the video highlighted the problems of single-use plastic, and now we're going to further elaborate on that. So as the video discussed, ways to reduce your waste include avoiding individually packaged items and food by buying in bulk and bringing your own grocery bags, as well as produce bags, and shopping zero waste, even bringing your own coffee mugs. A quote taken from plasticoceans.org reads, "We are producing over 300 million tons of plastic every year, 50% of which is for single-use purposes, utilized for just a few moments, but on the planet for at least several hundred years. Lastly, pay attention to labeling such as fair trade and organic, which are said to be healthier for not only humans, but the planet. And buy local. Clean Canteen is a local company based in Chico that sells reusable water bottles, which can replace up to 156 plastic water bottles annually, according to earthday.org. Farmers markets are also a great place to support local businesses and get high-quality produce." So now we are going to put up a poll, and I encourage you to answer those questions. They're going to be, have you ever been to a farmer's market, and how considerate are you when making your purchases? So as I mentioned, farmers markets are a great way to get that high quality produce and support your local vendors. So I saw someone put in the chat that it's sad that we can't reuse our bags now because of coronavirus, and I feel the same way. I was in the store the other day with my mom, and I was like, "Mom, you forgot your bags," and she reminded me that we couldn't use them, and that made me super sad. So I don't think there's someone asked for suggestions since personal bags are not allowed in the stores currently. I'm not sure that there's really any way around that right now. Oh, someone said that they get groceries without bags. That's awesome. And then they just put it in the trunk of their car. Okay, so now I think we're going to examine these poll results. So most of you have been to a farmer's market. Well, all of you have been to a farmer's market, and some of you attend regularly. That's awesome. I encourage you to try and do that more often. And most of you are also considerate of your purchases, which is really great. Our goal here is to give everyone the tools to be conscious about their decisions, especially ones that affect our environment. So overall, we need to be conscious in our purchasing, like most of you are already. We need to understand where it comes from, what it is packaged in, and what was needed to make it to truly understand the impact of buying it. For example, eating meat significantly increases your ecological footprint because the necessary land to raise livestock is a lot more than it takes to cultivate fruits and vegetables. As you can see on the map that's on the slide, which is of the US, a very large portion of this country's land is dedicated to livestock production. These are some factors to consider when making purchasing decisions. Now I'm going to pass the presentation on to Tara, and she's going to talk a little bit about solid waste and recycling.
So yeah, going off of what Haley was saying before, most of our waste goes either into lakes, oceans, or landfills. And Butte County's waste goes to the landfill. So we're going to have Mackenzie play a short little video to watch the life cycle of a plastic bottle.
This is the story of 3 plastic bottles, empty and discarded. Their journeys are about to diverge, with outcomes that impact nothing less than the fate of the planet. But they weren't always this way. To understand where these bottles end up, we must first explore their origins. The heroes of our story were conceived in this oil refinery. The plastic in their bodies was formed by chemically bonding oil and gas molecules together to make monomers. In turn, these monomers were bonded into long polymer chains to make plastic, in the form of millions of pellets. Those were melted at manufacturing plants and reformed in molds to create the resilient material that makes up the triplets' bodies. Machines filled the bottles with sweet, bubbly liquid, and they were then wrapped, shipped, bought, opened, consumed, and unceremoniously discarded. And now here they lie, poised at the edge of the unknown. Bottle 1, like hundreds of millions of tons of his plastic brethren, ends up in a landfill. This huge dump expands each day as more trash comes in and continues to take up space. As plastics sit there being compressed amongst layers of other junk, rainwater flows through the waste and absorbs the water-soluble compounds it contains, and some of those are highly toxic. Together, they create a harmful stew called leachate, which can move into groundwater, soil, and streams, poisoning ecosystems and harming wildlife. It can take Bottle 1 and agonizing.
So yeah, going off of that, our very own landfill in Butte County, that's the Neal Road Recycling and Waste Facility. At the current rate of our waste consumption in Butte County, the landfill is set to be filled by 2037, which really isn't that far away. It's only about 17 years from now. And so to mitigate that, we really want to be conscious about our consumption by following the 4 R's, which are refusing waste, reusing what we have, reducing and recycling. So now I'm going to pass it off to Haley, and she's going to talk about how we can mitigate food waste in the landfill through composting.
Thank you, Tara. And I just want to say I love how everyone's utilizing that chat feature to share their thoughts. So composting is a very important tool in reducing our waste. According to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, 20% of what goes into municipal landfills is food. Diverting that food waste can allow landfills to last longer and decrease methane production. When organic materials such as vegetables decompose in landfills, they release methane due to anaerobic digestion or decomposing without oxygen, as landfills are compacted to optimize space. When composted, these materials break down with oxygen or aerobically. They do not release methane and create healthy soil and fertilizer that you can use on your gardens. To compost, you need a bin with lots of holes so the air can move freely through the pile. There are 4 main ingredients, which are browns, greens, air, and water. Browns include paper, cardboard, or leaves. Greens are kitchen waste, such as fruit and vegetable scraps. And air is necessary for that aerobic digestion. Water as well, which needs to be added to the pile frequently. I challenge you to explore this idea more and start a compile at your own home. So now I'm going to pass this presentation on to Tara, and she's going to talk about a local compost pickup, which is right in Chico.
Yeah, thanks, Haley. For those of us who either don't have enough space to compost or don't have the time to do it by ourselves, there is a bicycling composting pickup service, and this is called Drop in the Bucket. And they're still up and running. I actually just got my 5-gallon bucket from Jason the other day. And pretty much the business is picking up compost from residential housing, and they take that compost and they disperse it to community gardens across Chico. So their whole message is to pick up compost so that we can make more food accessible in the long run. So as you can see, there's a link down below. Feel free to shoot them an email. They are more than happy to come by and pick up your compost for you. So now I'm going to pass a bit about employee health and wellness.
Hi everyone. All right, I know we've been sitting for some time now, so let's just take a moment. Careful if your camera's on and you're not wearing normal pants. Just take a moment to stand up, stretch, maybe lift up your arms, take some deep breaths, move your head and neck side to side, maybe give your back a nice crack. Take your eyes off your screen, take a nice relaxing deep breath. So taking moments like this can help you refocus during your workday, and it can also help improve posture to stand up and help reduce different muscular injuries if you get up and stretch, walk around, take a little pause, can also help promote your own health and wellness. Another topic that we need to consider is the ergonomics and layout of our workspace. So when we're at Chico, we might have our desk already set up for us or wherever your typical workspace is. However, when we move to home, we might need to reconfigure our workspace to make sure that it's comfortable for us. I know when I first started working from home, I was like sitting on the couch with my laptop all day, and then I really had to change my system there because my neck was getting crazy sore. So this video here can help us set up our workspace in a way that's ergonomic so that it can help keep us comfortable.
Here's your desk. Your chair, monitor, keyboard, mouse, phone, a plant? Sure. Problem is, your desk isn't really built for you. It's for anyone. Spending 8 hours a day reaching, slouching, or craning can lead to pain. At least that's what John Sinkay from the Hospital for Special Surgery says.
I do say that every day.
So he's here to, well, he can tell you.
I'm here to show you how to set up your desk ergonomically so you can avoid pain later on in life. Step 1, adjust your chair. The average desk height is 29 to 30 inches tall. For some, this could be too tall or too short. That's where your chair comes in. The first thing you want to do is adjust the height. When you do, make sure your elbows are bent to 90 degrees. So if a person's feet are not touching the floor, this could become an issue. So we're going to give her a footstool. If you don't have access to a footrest, we recommend using a ream of paper. Step 2 is adjust your monitor. The tip is to have the monitor close enough, about arm's length, so you're able to read without having to strain your eyes or to bend forward and adjust your posture. So what you want to do is raise the monitor up till the top of the screen is eye level. If your monitor is not adjustable in height, use your reams of paper. Much better. If you work from 2 monitors, consider how you use them. If you have a primary monitor, you want that directly in front of you. If you use both monitors equally, you want them lined up so you are in the middle of the 2. For a laptop, you want to use a kickstand to raise the screen up to the proper height. Then you can attach an external keyboard and mouse to it. Step number 3 is to mind your mouse and your keyboard. Where your hands end up is where your keyboard should be. Your mouse should end up right next to your keyboard. You want to move from your elbow instead of your shoulder to prevent overuse or strain or pain. The key is not to reach for your tools. Step 4 is to position your phone. You want to put the phone on your non-writing side so you don't have to cradle it to your shoulder. This could eventually lead to neck pain. If you're on the phone a good portion of your day, you want to consider using a headset. That way your hands are free to write down anything or to type on the computer. Step 5, move.
Up next is Josh to continue talking about health and wellness.
Thanks, Mackenzie. So, health and wellness continued. We would like you to consider a well-rounded wellness. These elements would be environmental, social, physical, intellectual, spiritual, and emotional. We will be posting the link in the chat, and it's a great resource on our campus for dealing with stress and different elements of wellness. EHS, which stands for Environmental Health and Safety, and this has additional resources for ergonomics and how to stay healthy, and that link will be posted in the chat. Now I'll be passing it right back to Mackenzie, who will be closing it out.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, everyone, for attending the workshop. Thank you to the Scoop team for reacting to the changes that we underwent and adapting to this new virtual format and working really hard to create this amazing workshop as well as our new home office audit tool. We really appreciate it, and together we can create a more sustainable world. We would like to direct you to our webpage csuchico.edu/sustainability/green-campus. So if you're interested in what we had today for you, you can check out that tool and go through your home office space and give yourself an audit, as well as access to more resources and information. We hope that some of the things that we went through today inspired you to take a greater look into those topics. And we hope that we provided you with some helpful information and that you take the next steps into assessing your workspace and optimizing your sustainability.